Calls to action, SEO optimized for B2B. SEO traffic only matters if it converts. If SEO is how B2B buyers find you, your calls to action are how they decide whether to talk to you. The gap between a high-ranking page and a booked meeting is where pipeline quietly disappears, especially when visitors read, skim, and leave without a next step. In practice, the CTA is the handoff from marketing performance to sales outcomes. Today, prospects do a big chunk of their evaluation before they ever reply to an email or accept a call. When roughly 61 to 67% of the buyer journey happens online, and 61% of decision makers start with search, your SEO pages are effectively part of your sales development workflow. That means your website isn't just a brand asset, it's a production line for meetings, if the CTAs are built to convert. The problem isn't usually traffic, it's mismatch. A generic "contact us" on an educational post, a buried demo button on a solutions page, or 3 competing asks in the same viewport can turn qualified intent into analytics noise. Our goal is simple: turn anonymous organic visitors into clear, trackable next steps that your SDR team can follow up on fast. Why CTAs decide the fate of organic pipeline. B2B SEO is crowded and getting more competitive every year. In 2025, 93% of B2B companies report having a dedicated SEO strategy, which means rankings alone rarely create separation. The teams that win treat on-page conversion as a first-class growth lever, not a finishing touch. SEO also earns its seat at the revenue table because it can be extremely efficient. When 41% of marketers say SEO delivers the highest ROI of any digital channel, squeezing even small conversion lifts out of top pages can translate into meaningful pipeline without paying for more clicks. The fastest way to unlock that lift is usually CTA clarity. One primary action, one clear value proposition, and one friction-reduced path to take it. Benchmarks reinforce the upside. While many teams accept 2 to 3% website conversion as normal, B2B landing pages designed around a dedicated ask can average 13.28% conversion in large datasets. If your pricing, solution, and highest traffic blog posts aren't built to capture intent, you're effectively donating demand to competitors who are. Align CTAs with search intent and buyer stage. The most common B2B CTA mistake is using "book a demo" everywhere, regardless of why someone landed on the page. Search intent tells you what problem the visitor is trying to solve and how ready they are to talk. When you match the ask to the moment, awareness, consideration, or decision, you reduce bounce and increase the odds that the lead is actually sales ready. Personalization is the accelerator here, not the garnish. Personalized CTAs can convert 202% better than generic ones, which is a huge lever for teams that segment by industry, role, or funnel stage. Even lightweight personalization, like changing the offer based on page category or the headline based on persona, can outperform one CTA to rule them all. A practical way to operationalize this is to define your CTA ladder by intent, then enforce it across templates so every new page inherits the right default. The table below is a simple mapping you can adapt to your ICP and your B2B sales agency positioning. Design and placement that earn the click. Once the offer is right, presentation becomes the multiplier. Switching from text links to button-style CTAs can lift clicks by about 45%, largely because buttons look like a decision point, not a footnote. This matters even more on mobile, where skim behavior is high and subtle links get ignored. Whitespace and focus are not aesthetic preferences. They're conversion mechanics. In one test, adding whitespace and removing clutter around a CTA produced a 232% conversion lift, which is exactly why more content near the button often backfires. If your CTA sits inside a noisy layout, surrounded by competing links or secondary actions, you're diluting the moment you're trying to create. Placement should follow attention, not tradition. Put a primary CTA above the fold on high-intent pages, but also repeat it after value is established and again at the end for readers who need to scroll. A frequent mistake is set it and forget it placement. Teams ship a hero button, never revisit scroll depth, and miss the fact that the most persuasive section of the page has no CTA nearby. A CTA isn't a button, it's a commitment device that turns interest into a measurable next step. CTA offers that feel valuable in B2B. B2B buyers don't click because the verb is strong. They click because the trade feels fair. The best performing CTAs bundle a clear outcome, get benchmarks, reduce no-shows, improve reply rates, with a believable path to that outcome. When the offer is concrete, you can keep the form short, the ask simple, and the follow-up relevant. Trust is the hidden conversion layer, especially for organic visitors meeting you for the first time. Add low-friction doubt removers near the CTA, what happens next, how fast they'll get value, and what you will not do. No spam, no aggressive selling. The common mistake is overqualifying too early with long forms that feel like homework. A better approach is to capture minimal info, then let SDRs qualify in a human conversation. If you sell services like a cold calling agency, a cold email agency, or an outbound sales agency, your offers should preview your process. Think outbound teardown in 24 hours, ICP list review, or meeting pipeline forecast, because these align with what executives actually want: clarity, speed, and confidence. When the CTA value is real, you'll attract prospects who are a better fit for a sales outsourcing or SDR agency engagement. Outbound and email CTAs, clarity wins. Email and LinkedIn are where CTA discipline gets tested because it's tempting to ask for everything at once. Data consistently supports the opposite approach. Emails with a single, clear CTA can drive up to 371% more clicks and 1,617% more sales than emails with multiple competing asks. In Outbound, one message equals one action. If you want two actions, send 2 touches. For a sales development agency or outsourced sales team, this is especially important because the CTA must match the cadence goal. If the first touch is meant to confirm relevance, the CTA can be a quick yes/no, worth exploring, rather than a calendar link. If the prospect is already engaged, the CTA can shift to scheduling with guardrails, 15 minutes this week or next, to reduce back and forth. A common mistake we see in B2B cold calling services and telemarketing motions is mismatched follow-up. The prospect clicks a CTA and then nothing happens for days. If your CTA says, book a discovery call, the calendar, routing, and SDR response time must support that promise. Tight operational alignment is what turns a good CTA into a predictable meeting engine. Measure, test, and route leads like a revenue team. Treat high-traffic SEO pages as revenue assets with owners, targets, and test plans. Start with a baseline: page sessions, CTA click-through rate, form completion rate, and meeting rate from organic leads. Even moving a page from fine to good can be massive because you're improving conversion on traffic you already have. Testing should prioritize the few levers that reliably move numbers: offer, CTA copy, visual hierarchy, and friction. The goal is not to run dozens of tiny tests, it's to run a handful of meaningful ones that change behavior. When you know dedicated B2B landing pages can average 13.28% conversion, it becomes easier to justify disciplined experimentation instead of accepting underperformance as inevitable. Routing is the last mile that most teams underestimate. A CTA that produces leads but not meetings is usually a workflow problem. Unclear lead type, slow response, wrong SDR assignment, or no persona context. If you run pay-per-appointment lead generation or pay-per-meeting lead generation programs, this matters even more because meeting quality is driven as much by routing and prep as by the click itself. Scaling CTA-driven pipeline with SalesHive. Most teams know their CTAs can be sharper, but they're already stretched thin across content, ads, events, and quota pressure. That's where we fit. SalesHive helps B2B companies connect strong offers and CTAs to real execution across cold calling services, multi-step email outreach, and LinkedIn touches. Since 2016, we've booked 100,000+ meetings for 1,500+ clients by focusing on what consistently gets busy executives to say yes to a conversation. Operationally, we plug into the workflows that make CTAs work in the real world. Our SDR teams, US-based and Philippines-based, run outreach that mirrors the intent of your top SEO pages. Whether the CTA is book a discovery call, schedule a demo, or claim your strategy session. We also support list building services and B2B list building services, so the prospects seeing and responding to those CTAs match your ICP, not just your traffic volume. If you're ready to improve conversion without adding complexity, the next step is to pick a small set of high-impact pages and standardize your CTA ladder. Intent-based offers, one clear primary action, and fast follow-up. From there, you can layer in personalization and outreach at scale using tools like eMod to tailor messaging by account or persona while keeping the CTA consistent. That's how CTA optimization becomes a repeatable growth system, not a one-off redesign.